The James Wilson Institute is unique among other conservative nonprofits insofar as we are firmly committed to the principles of mind of those uncommon men who were responsible for providing the moral foundation for the Constitution and the justification under which we started this country.
So one of our objects here is to restore a certain kind of coherence, a moral coherence to the jurisprudence we're making when it falls to us to shape that jurisprudence.
The Institute was started to be the cornerstone of the post-Amherst College teaching career of Professor Hadley Arkes, our founder and director, after he spent 50 years at Amherst College teaching an audience of undergraduates. But now we've decided to take those teachings to a wider audience, an audience not of just undergraduates, but rather of law students, clerks, lawyers, and even judges themselves.
But apart from those things, our other notable project has been kind of a session that brings together some rather distinguished federal judges in appellate courts with some rather gifted professors of philosophy of law.
I think Professor Arkes is a wonderful teacher. I think he makes it fun and engaging, and he knows how to draw out the best of his students.
Well, the purpose is to restore the kind of furnishings of mind that we found among that first generation of the American founders. That is, we're working with a group of about 15 young people, young accomplished lawyers. Most of them are on their way to clerkships with federal judges, judges of the Supreme Courts of their respective states. But we're working with these people for the sake of giving them a grounding and working through cases. So we're not in the world of abstraction. We're weaving principles with cases to remind them of where those principles come from and about the underlying moral structure of the arguments they use, the arguments that may underlie the clauses of the Constitution.
What I think distinguishes the James Wilson Institute's treatment of the subject of law from what you may get in a law school is that a law school is designed to teach you what the cases say, but it's not designed to help you engage the deeper principles, more often than not, that underlie that law.
The Institute is important because ideas matter, and we believe that the moral foundation of the law is predicated upon ideas that have consequences, and these ideas are ideas that have always been true.
And in so many different areas of the law, it explains what underlies how we got to where we are.
That's what this fellowship and fellowships like this focus on, because we're not getting that training in schools. And if you're a conservative thinker, then you go into situations where it's very difficult to defend what you believe and why you believe it and why it's relevant.
James Wilson Institute is really calling you something that's already in you, that's something that you already knew, something that was already written on your heart.
I think it's important to always understand why we're in this profession and why we're doing what we're doing, why we have law. And fellowships like these give us an opportunity to continue to think about these issues.
My main takeaway is I've got to really think a little bit harder about the relationship between natural law and the positive law. I think Professor Arkes has provided with a lot of challenging comments.
We thought initially when we began to do this that we were simply offering a refresher course. But the real jolt of discovery for us was that about half the people in the original set had never heard it, either in 4 years of college or 3 years of law school.
And I think it was helpful to see what I didn't know, what I was missing, the hole in my education, so that I can go back and fill it in and be a better lawyer in the future.
He asks the tough questions, and he frames those questions in a way that both makes his thinking accessible to all of his students, but also gives those students an extraordinary opportunity to disagree with him and to engage in a discussion of law that goes far beyond just the question of what is pragmatic or what is utilitarian, but instead gives us an opportunity to discuss the deeper principles that form our individual and our collective understandings of what law is and what law should do.